then why are you here in Indonesia? Go back to your country.
Boleh dipakai
Indonesia
ke sistem
udah
yang
pada
di
penduduknya, ditambah banyak bule.
Nah, guys.
But Sri, I'm not sure
halo.
if you knew this, but Indonesia has the fourth lowest population of foreigners
Indonesia,
in the
halo.
world by percentage.
Boleh nih.
Only 0.1% of
Kita bersinar BDT buka mata dunia Sabaran Indo satu frekuensi sama irama silaturahmi lewat video kita terus maju BDT channel reaksi bikin bersatu. Assalamualaikum kumaha damang guys, sampurasun sarang wilujeng sumping ke channel abdi. Saya BDT dari Borneo Sabah akan menemani kawan-kawan semua dalam episode reaction kali ini. Dan hari ini kita akan nonton video bule bisa berbahasa Indonesia, culture shock di Indonesia juga. Dan ada orang-orang Indonesia yang berkomentar di video-video dia yang suruh dia pulang ke negara dia. Gimana pendapat kalian guys? Kita akan nonton video ini. Ojo lali guys di subscribe channelku. Pastikan kalian nonton sampai tamat agar tidak salah paham. Dan moga-moga kawan-kawan semua yang menonton berada dalam keadaan yang sehat, dimurahkan rezeki, dipermudahkan juga segala urusan dunia dan akhirat. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Tanpa buang-buang waktu, mari sama-sama kita nonton isi kandungan video ini. 1, 2.
Three things that make learning Indonesian difficult for foreigners.
Bahasa Indonesia susah.
The first thing that makes learning Indonesian difficult are abbreviations or singkatan. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've been confused what somebody's trying to say to me because they're using abbreviations and I have yet to learn said abbreviation.
Bahasa
And I mean like abbreviations in general conversation. So, for example, the abbreviation OTW.
On the way.
In English, we would just say, I'm on the way. But in Bahasa Indonesia, you would say, gua lagi OTW. The second thing that makes learning Indonesian difficult is the letter E.
I jadi
Like,
I kan?
we never know whether E is going to be pronounced as or E. Like, for example, kamera and kemana. And sometimes E just isn't pronounced, like in Samudra and Sumatra. And the third and final thing that makes learning Indonesian difficult is the difference between formal and informal Indonesian, or the difference between Bahasa Indonesia baku and Bahasa Indonesia sehari-hari. This is one of the things that I've personally seen make Indonesian learners not confident to speak with Indonesians in Indonesian because often they feel misunderstood or they feel they sound awkward. Salah satu hal yang bikin saya kesel, kalau saya bilang saya dari Afrika Selatan, orang langsung bilang, masa ada air di Afrika Selatan? Atau mereka bilang, ada banyak orang kelaparan ya di Afrika Selatan. Lu kirain Afrika Selatan gimana? Afrika bukan kayak satu negara, Afrika itu luas, ada banyak negara. Kalau misalnya kamu ketemu orang luar negeri, terus mereka tanyain kamu, kamu dari Indonesia, ada listrik di Indonesia enggak? Ada mall di Indonesia enggak? Pasti tersinggung ya. Jadi kalau kamu ketemu orang asing, pikir dulu apa yang kamu mau tanya. Many people in Indonesia with degrees are being paid according to UMR or even below that, something which is illegal in my country, South Africa. But what other rights do people have in South Africa? Disclaimer, I'm just trying to give some ideas on what we can do to change things here. The first difference is that our minimum wage is paid per hour. So the more you work, the more you earn. Unlike in Indonesia where you have a fixed salary per month, so whether you work 40 hours or 60 hours, you earn the same amount. The national minimum wage is only paid to 3 different work sectors: domestic workers, miners, and agricultural workers. Every other sector in South Africa has a bargaining council or a union that negotiates their minimum wage for them. There are over 40 bargaining councils and 200 unions in South Africa. So, for example, if you're a teacher, it's impossible for you to get paid according to the national minimum wage because your union has already negotiated a minimum wage for you. In most industries, overtime is compulsory to be paid. At the end of the year, you'll get an increase, and if your company is feeling generous, you could get what they call a 13th check, which is equal to what your salary is. If you happen to get fired, they'll offer you a retrenchment package, which is essentially money to say that they let you go. Pensions are compulsory for everybody in every sector, and the pension has to be paid by the employee, which is 7 to 9% per month, and by the employee also 7 to 9%. You and your employer both have to pay 1% of your salary towards your unemployment insurance fund every single month. So, if you become
Oke, guys,
unemployed
jadi
or
kalau
even if you
sistem
get sick,
penggajian
you
di
can take this
Afrika
money
dan
from your
juga di
unemployment.
Indonesia itu cukup berbeda, guys, dari penjelasan dia tadi. Kalau di Afrika gaji dia ikut jam, kiraan jam, dan ada 3 sektor yang macam domestik dan macam guru gitu dan lain-lain gitu kan. Dia ada dia punya minimum wage atau gaji minimum yang memang sudah ditetapkan. Tapi boleh setiap tahun ada bonus begitulah di ujung tahun, dia kira macam itulah dia jelaskan. Tapi kalau di Indonesia lain kan, di Indonesia fix dia punya sistem gaji itu. Kalau macam contoh dia gaji dia 1 bulan itu 3 juta, jadi dia fix, dia kerja 40 jam kah 20 jam kah tetap 3 juta, tiada tambahan dan tiada yang kurang, begitu kan kalau di Indonesia, guys. Pendapat kalian gimana?
Insurance fund and live off of it. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that we could implement any of these here in Indonesia? Then why are you here in Indonesia? Go back to your country.
Boleh dipakai
Indonesia
sistem
udah
yang
pada
di
penduduknya
Afrika.
ditambah banyak bule.
Nah, guys,
But Sri, I'm
Jadi
not sure
halo.
if you knew this, but Indonesia has the 4th lowest population of foreigners
Indonesia,
in the
halo.
world by percentage.
Boleh ni.
Only 0.1% of this country is made up of foreigners. Mbak Sri, do we really want to be the type of person that when we can see everybody agrees with what I'm saying, considering gaji UMR, and you've decided, no, I want to be the person that tells this guy, go back to where you come from. Mbak Sri, do you also want investors to leave the country? If you didn't know, 52% of investment in Indonesia is made up of foreign investment. Mbak Sri, I'm not sure if you knew this, but the government is actively trying to promote tourism in the country. And so, unfortunately for you, you're going to have to deal with a lot more people like me. No country is perfect, and we all know that. But in order for us to move forward and to grow as a country, we have to learn to accept criticism and to take in that criticism and analyze ourselves and try and better ourselves as well as our country. I hope you have a nice day in Basri. One of my biggest culture shocks in Indonesia has to be who receives gaji UMR or minimum wage. So in my country, South Africa, gaji UMR or minimum wage is specific for unqualified people. So jobs like cleaners or maids or jobs which are considered to be of a menial type. But in Indonesia, I learned that there are people who have bachelor's degrees or master's degrees who are offered gaji UMR or minimum wage. And for lack of a better word, I think that's quite despicable. What's even worse is that there are people who are offered below the minimum wage, which makes no sense because there's a reason why it's called minimum wage. For example, in my country, a newly graduated teacher would probably earn about 2 to 3 times what UMR is, and over their career could probably earn up to maybe 5 to 6 times UMR. But as we can see within Indonesia at the moment, there are even teachers who are offered below UMR. So when we talk about kemajuan, we have to keep in mind that we should not only try and make our surroundings more maju, but also the situation of our own people. But I want to hear from you guys. What's your opinion on this? And do you guys have any solutions to fix this? One of the things that makes Indonesian more challenging than other languages is that Indonesian is a diglossic language. To summarize, diglossia is when there are 2 different forms of a language used by a community. And in Indonesia, those 2 forms of the language are Bahasa Indonesia Baku and Bahasa Indonesia Gaul. One of the biggest differences between Bahasa Indonesia Baku and Bahasa Indonesia Gaul is within its grammar, specifically affixes. For example, saya memesan makanan di restoran. Gua pesan makanan di resto. Or, mereka berbicara tentang politik. Mereka ngomongin soal politik. Saya terkejut mendengar berita itu. Gua kaget dengar berita itu. Dia meminjamkan uang kepada temannya. Dia minjemin duit ke temannya. Dia mengerjakan PR sampai malam. Dia ngerjain PR sampai malam. Not only are Bahasa Indonesia Baku and Bahasa Indonesia Gaul different within grammar, but they're also different within words. For example, tentang becomes soal. Untuk becomes buat. Sangat becomes banget. Sedang becomes lagi. Tidak becomes enggak. Karena becomes seaunya. Hanya becomes cuma. Bersama becomes bareng. Uang becomes duit. What other examples can you guys think of?
Bareng.
Tahu nggak kalau orang Betawi itu campuran Sunda, Arab, Tionghoa, India, dan banyak lagi? Keren banget sejarahnya. Mari kita bahas. Betawi itu nama suku yang muncul sekitar abad ke-18 di Batavia, yang sekarang kita kenal sebagai Jakarta. Nama Betawi sendiri diambil dari kata Batavia. Betawi itu campuran banyak etnis, India, Arab, Tionghoa, Jawa, Sunda, sama Melayu, dan perpaduan berbagai budaya dari penduduk Batavia. Jadi, enggak heran kalau budaya Betawi unik banget. Budaya India kelihatan di tradisi nikahan Betawi sama masakan tradisionalnya. Arab mereka dapat pengaruh Islam yang kental. Nah, kalau Tionghoa ngaruh ke makanan kayak laksa dan asinan Betawi dan musik kambang kromong yang pakai alat musik khas Tionghoa. Juga baju adat Betawi. Enggak cuma itu, Betawi juga punya teater lenong. Makanannya juga enak. Ada kerak telur, soto Betawi, gabus pucung, sama asinan Betawi. Orang Betawi itu bukti kalau Jakarta dari dulu udah kaya banget sama budaya.
Menarik. Ya. Oke guys, jadi demikian video yang baru kita nonton bareng. Cukup padat video yang baru kita dapat tadi. Jadi baru saya tahu orang Betawi itulah adalah gabungan daripada banyak suku gitu kan, dan digabungkan menjadi orang Betawi. Patutlah budaya Betawi ini sangat luar biasa. Dia punya keunikan dan dia punya macam budaya itu kaya banget guys. Dan bule ini bercakap tentang soal gaji minimum di Indonesia. Apa pendapat kalian tentang gaji minimum di Indonesia? Silahkan komen di ruang komentar di bawah guys. Dan saya rasa sampai di sini dulu video pada kali ini. Dan banyak info yang saya dapat daripada video yang baru kita nonton bareng. Moga kawan-kawan juga sama mendapat banyak manfaat daripada video yang baru kita nonton bareng. Komen di ruangan komentar di bawah pendapat kawan-kawan. Dan insya Allah kita jumpa lagi di video yang akan datang. Terima kasih guys karena nonton. Salam santun damai dan salam silaturahmi. Assalamualaikum. Salam Nusantara good people. Yo teman-teman, ojo lali di subscribe yo channelku.